Right friends, welcome back to main events of 25th week. This is from 20th June to 26th June, and please don't forget, for 23rd, 24th and 25th weeks you have only 3 modules every week, and from 26th week onwards the pattern changed. Please go through the YouTube channel. We are uploading capsules as and when the news events takes place. Look into the main events, that is special package for textile and apparel sector. Special package was announced by the government recently, and it is expected to create 1 crore new jobs, and at the same time cumulative exports will increase by $30 billion, and at the same time around 74,000 crores of new investments will come during the next 3 years. Then FDI norms were further liberalized, and in addition to the major changes made in November 2015, further liberalization was done with regard to FDI norms, and we are going to deliberate in detail about the FDI regulations. Then ceasefire with the FARC rebels in Colombia, major achievement, and World Investment Report. India's position is 10th in attracting FDI. Please don't forget, United States of America attracts maximum FDI, and rupees 10,000 crore fund of funds for startups was announced, and please don't forget, SIDBI will be the nodal agency for this, and we are going to discuss one by one in detail. Look at the first event, special package for textile and apparel sector. This assumed significance in view of several facts. First and the foremost is, in textile and apparel sector, around 70% of the workforce are women, and whatever the changes contemplated by the government will ultimately benefit women. And if you want the difference between textiles and apparels, please look into this slide. These are examples of textiles and these are apparels. And other important aspect is, for every rupees 1 crore of investment, 70 jobs will be created in garments sector, whereas just 10 in steel sector and just 25 in automobile sector. So the job creation potential is very high for textile and apparel sector. And the changes which are contemplated now, that means the changes which were approved by the Union Cabinet as a special package for textile and apparel sector, will result in cumulative increase in exports to the tune of $30 billion in 3 years. Second most important aspect is that will result in increase in investments of rupees 74,000 crores over the next 3 years, and at the same time they will create additional jobs of 1 crore in the next 3 years. So 1 crore additional jobs, rupees 74,000 crores of additional investments, and increase in cumulative exports to the tune of $30 billion US. These 3 things will take place during the next 3 years because of changes in this textile and apparel sector policy. And I would like to tell you one important event in the export of textiles and apparels. India was the leader from 1995 to 2000. Please look into this slide. And Bangladesh exports exceeded that of India in 2003. So Bangladesh exports exceeded India's in 2003, and subsequently in the year 2011, Vietnam's exports exceeded that of India. And if you look at the year 2015, Bangladesh is at number 1 position, and Vietnam is in number 2 position, and India is at number 3 position. And by the year 2018, the government's intention is to make India as number 1 exporter, bypassing Bangladesh and Vietnam. It is not an easy task, it will not be an easy task, but government has made policy announcements so as to reach the topmost position in the export of textiles and apparels during the next 3 years. And if you look at the salient features, government will bear the entire 12% of the employer's contribution of employees' provident fund. For new employees in the government industry for the first 3 years, government will bear the entire 12% of the employer's contribution. For the people earning less than rupees 15,000 per month, that means for the employees whoever are earning less than rupees 15,000 per month, the employers, that means the company's contribution of 12% will be borne by the central government. That means there will not be burden on the employer, and because of this move, what will happen? The employment potential will be created. That means the employment potential will be realized in formal sector. Nowadays, because of these employee provident fund regulations, most of the jobs are being created in informal sector, and government's intention is to create more jobs in formal sector. Keeping that in view, Government of India came up with a proposal that they will bear the entire cost of employer's 12% component. Employer is required to contribute something and employee will require to contribute something, that is employees provident fund. To take care of the future needs, employees provident fund is intended, and employees provident fund is credited with the contribution from employer and the contribution from employee. And here employer's contribution will be taken over by the central government for 3 years for the employees whoever are earning less than rupees 15,000 per month. Second thing is EPF shall be made optional for employees earning less than rupees 15,000 per month. This is also with a view to create more employment in formal sector. Then overtime for workers not to exceed 8 hours per week in line with International Labour Organization norms. Then fixed term employment shall be introduced for the government sector. That means by liberalizing certain norms, especially labor laws, fixed term employment shall be introduced for the government sector. And subsidy under amended technology upgradation fund scheme. In the previous lectures, we discussed about amended technology upgradation funds scheme, and subsidy under this scheme raised from 15% to 25%. In the capital investment for establishing a garment factory, the subsidy component is increased from 15% to 25%. And another important aspect is, if state levies are imposed, then central government will refund those levies. So these are all the steps taken with a view to increase the government's exports to regain market leader position by 2018. That means by the financial year 2018-19, government's intention is to reach export potential of more than $43 billion. Right? Look into the next issue, that is FDI norms further liberalized. Previous major changes were made in November 2015, and further radical changes were made in FDI policy, and most of the sectors were brought under the automatic route. You may ask the difference between government approval route and automatic route. Government approval route is for each and every proposal, the approval of Foreign Investment Promotion Board is required. That means for the FDI investment to be routed through government approval route, each and every proposal is to be put forward to Foreign Investment Promotion Board, which is under the Ministry of Finance. And if the FDI regulations are through automatic route, then no one else need to give further approval. So certain sectors are kept under automatic route, and certain sectors, especially very few sectors like defense, will be kept under government route. So looking at the strategic importance of the sector, FDI rules will be kept under government approval route, and most of the sectors will be through automatic route. And please don't forget, the FDI norms are announced by Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So foreign direct investment norms are announced by DIPP, which is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And if the approval is through government approval route, then FIPB approval is required. Now the government says that India is the most open economy in the world for foreign direct investment, and please don't forget, in the year 2015-16, that means in the financial year 2015-16, India attracted record ever foreign direct investment of $55.46 billion, and there is a vast scope for increasing it further. And if you look at the major changes, one is with respect to the food products manufactured or produced in India. For the food products manufactured or produced in India, the FDA allowed through government approval route for trading, including through e-commerce, is 100%. That means for trading of food products, including e-commerce route, for the products, that means for the food products manufactured or produced in India, the FDA allowed is 100% through government approval route. Second important aspect is in defense sector, up to 49% is allowed, and beyond 49% is also permitted through government approval route if it results in access to modern technology. The previous clause was a state-of-art technology, and through these FDI norms, state-of-art technology was replaced by modern technology. So for the FDI in defense sector beyond 49%, government approval route is approved if the FDI results in access to modern technology. Then in teleports, DTH, cable TV networks, then mobile TV, 100% FDI is allowed through automatic route. And in brownfield pharmaceuticals, you may ask what is the difference between brownfield and greenfield projects. Brownfield project means developing the existing company is brownfield development, and altogether developing a new company is greenfield project. That means developing existing company is brownfield, altogether establishing new company is greenfield. And if you look at pharmaceutical industry, in brownfield pharmaceutical industry, 74% FDI is allowed under automatic route, and beyond 74% up to 100% under approval route. And for greenfield pharmaceuticals, 100% FDI under automatic route already exists. So if you look at pharmaceutical projects, in greenfield pharmaceutical projects, 100% FDI under automatic route already exists, and for brownfield pharmaceutical projects, 74% FDI is allowed under automatic route, and beyond 74% up to 100% through government approval route. If you look at other aspects, that is 100% FDI is now permitted in brownfield airport projects. Now greenfield airport projects, brownfield airport projects, both are eligible for 100% FDI under automatic route. Then for domestic airline service, 100% FDI is allowed with the 49% limit under automatic route, and beyond that under government approval route. That means for domestic airline sector, up to 49% is automatic, and 49% to 100% is with government approval. And for private security agencies, up to 49% is automatic route, and 49 to 74% is under government approval route. And for single brand retail trading of products having state-of-art or cutting-edge technologies, local sourcing norms were relaxed up to 3 years. Previously, for the firms like Apple to establish their stores in India, the biggest hurdle was local sourcing norms. certain percentage they have to procure locally. Now the government liberalized it for the products having the state of art technology or cutting edge technology. Then this local sourcing norms was taken out, so it paved the way for companies like Apple to establish their stores in our country. Right? So several rules and regulations under FDI were liberalized. Right friends, let us move on to the next issue, that is around the world. Most important development is a ceasefire with the FARC rebels, and ceasefire is a laying down arms, and there are 3 steps normally we have discussed previously. One is a cessation of hostilities, that is expressing intention for peace. Then second one is a ceasefire. Third one is a peace treaty. So now ceasefire was signed with the FARC rebels by Colombian government, and the next step will be peace treaty, and the peace treaty is expected to be signed in the month of July 2016. And you may ask what is meant by FARC rebels. It is the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia People's Army, and FARC is the Spanish name, and it was formed almost 50 years ago in 1964 with the Marxist-Leninist ideology, and it is a guerrilla movement. You may ask what is meant by guerrilla movement. Guerrilla movement is the movement or the armed attacks by very few individuals suddenly and surprisingly fighting the government. They are called guerrilla movement or guerrilla forces. So it is a guerrilla movement with Colombian armed forces, and they came up on the plank of agrarianism and anti-imperialism, and it was funded by kidnap and ransom, illegal mining and extortion, and during the 5 decades of its movement, 220,000 people lost their lives and 7 million people were displaced from their homes in Colombia. Finally, ceasefire agreement was signed, and both the sides stated that the methodology how disarmament would take place will come out within few days, and these peace talks are being held at Havana, that is the capital of Cuba, for the past 3 years. And this was signed in front of United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. And please don't forget, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar of Art of Living Foundation was also associated with several rounds of discussions between Colombian government and FARC rebels. Right? Look into the next issue, that is economy and banking. India is in 10th position in foreign direct investment, and please don't forget our government's figures of $55.46 billion for the financial year 2015-16, and the methodology is something different. Please don't confuse with those figures. Government of India released that during 2015-16 financial year, India attracted foreign direct investment of $55.46 billion. Please keep it aside. And now we are talking about calendar year 2015, that is from January 1 to December 31. And the figures for this foreign direct investment are released by UNCTAD. UNCTAD is nothing but United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. It is a United Nations organ, and it releases every year World Investment Report. This UNCTAD was established in 1964, headquartered in Geneva, and it looks at trade, investment and development issues. As per the recent UNCTAD report, United States of America is the topmost FDI destination at $380 billion. And globally, FDI flows increased by 38% in 2015 in comparison to 2014. And China is at the third place, and before that Hong Kong is at the second place. Hong Kong, all of you are well aware, it is the special administrative region of China. So United States of America at first place, Hong Kong second place, China at third place. And Chinese FDI is almost 3 times that of India. And another important aspect is China's FDI has grown by just 5%, whereas India's FDI increased from $35 billion to $44 billion. So there is an increase of around 25 to 26%. And India stands at 10th position worldwide, and if you look at Asia, India's position is 4th after Hong Kong, China and Singapore. Right, look into the last event of the week. Rupees 10,000 crore fund of funds for startups was announced by the Union Cabinet, and this fund of funds for startups, rupees 10,000 crore, will be monitored by SIDBI, and already rupees 500 crore provided to the corpus during 2015-16 and rupees 600 crore earmarked for 2016-17. And this fund of funds meaning, I will come to it a little while from now. And this fund of funds for startups is basically to support the startup companies. That means the budding companies, the companies just established and on the growth path, and they require capital for their growth, and for those ventures these investments are intended. And it is a part of Startup India action plan, and at the same time this aims to generate 18 lakh jobs. And this rupees 10,000 crore corpus monitored by SIDBI will be for the period up to 2025. That means for 14th and 15th Finance Commission periods, that is up to 2025. And the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion will monitor and review the performance in line with the Startup India action plan. And this assumed significance because in our country the availability of risk capital is not much, and most of the risk capital is coming from abroad. And normal instruments of finance are equity, debt and cash. But these are entirely different. For new companies, different model of investments are required. Please look into the slide, fund of funds for startups. Here SIDBI will monitor. Rupees 10,000 crore will be given by the government up to 2025. SIDBI will be nodal agency, and SIDBI will invest in various alternative investment funds. Alternative investment funds example is various venture capital funds. SIDBI will invest in various venture capital funds, and those venture capital funds will have to register with SEBI. And why SIDBI is not directly investing in startups? The primary reason is SIDBI may not have much expertise to invest in various startups. These alternative investment funds will have sufficient expertise to know about the status of startups and to analyze the growth potential of startups. So SIDBI will invest in alternative investment funds, and alternative investment funds will invest in startups. So with rupees 10,000 crores of funding from SIDBI, total equity investments will go up to rupees 60,000 crores. That means when SIDBI is investing in alternative investment funds, there is a possibility that further investments may also flow in from other sources, which will make a total component of rupees 60,000 crore equity investments and double that of debt investments. So here the basic purpose is SIDBI will invest in alternative investment funds, and in turn they will invest in various startups. So this is the mechanism of fund of funds for startups. Right? If someone talks about the fund of funds, the basic purpose is they will be invested in some of the well established funds, and in turn they will invest in the startups. Right friends, with this let us conclude 25th week lecture, and I would like to remind you Three topics I deliberately skipped here. One is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, then Nuclear Suppliers Group, and Missile Technology Control Regime, MTCR. So these three will be discussed separately in news capsules within 1 or 2 weeks. Right friends, with this let us conclude main events. Please do join for other modules. Have a nice day. Thank you.